am in a rather good mood because West Ham won. 3-1. The guy.
I'd love to be happy for you, Ian. I just don't have it in me.
I'm not that happy, really. Like in terms of like, I don't know. I'm happy, but like, I think I'd managed to divorce myself from too much anger around the performance of the football team I support a long time ago, to the point where it also works in the opposite direction as well. Because I don't sort of like, I don't feel like I get as excited anymore when we do win. The bloke that I was watching doing a watch along was losing his fucking mind and running around screaming about how he wanted to like kiss Nuno's big bald head. So I guess I'm happy, but like it's just like, yeah, I'm just not as into football as I used to be, and I don't know.
The good teams have gotten so good, and the bad teams are so unimpressive now that there's no, like, unless you, like, for whatever reason, support one team that's almost as good as another team, and like, but it just like, there's no way to be surprised by what happens in it anymore. So it's just not exciting.
I think
the fact that Bournemouth is still so far up the Premier League is a surprise.
Well, but the thing is that they've like invested all their money in like very sensible ways, improving like their infrastructure and their training and their youth setup and stuff. Exactly. Whereas West Ham, who like to proudly pronounce themselves the Academy of Football, it's written on the floor at our football ground. Because once we produced about 5 players who played for England at the same time or something, plus a World Cup winner.
The Wolves have got "Out of darkness cometh light" written everywhere, but where's my light, Ian? I don't see it. It's not happening.
Well, the lights in Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, they stole it. So the Mackhams have got it. Yeah, I don't know. I just, I think I used to play, I think I OD'd on football to a certain degree. Because I used to just play nothing but Football Manager and watch football. And for years and years, like I was really like, on a Saturday, all I would do is I'd get up, I'd probably roll a spliff, and then I'd have coffee and watch Soccer Saturday or Soccer AM. And then because me and my mate that I lived with, we had Sky Sports, I would then watch the early kickoff. We would then find feed for the 3:00 kickoffs and then watch the late kickoff, and then if West Ham won, you'd then circle back round and watch Match of the Day, because you'd be pleased because for once your crap team were not put on last on the roster. But they always seem to do that to West Ham anyway. And then, like I say, if West Ham won, you could then watch Football Focus, which was essentially the like full extended highlights of the game. So yeah, I used to, while I was doing that, I was probably playing Football Manager on my laptop all day long. And then when I started streaming on Twitch, the thing that like got me into like the affiliate program was that I started streaming, like I was doing art because I thought, people might want to watch me make art. And then one day I was just like, fuck it, I'm sick of people not watching me. If no one's watching me, then I might as well just fucking do whatever I want. So I started playing Football Manager, and then some people started watching me, and then I picked up followers. And so I used Football Manager to get to there. And I think I just played so much Football Manager, and West Ham then started being so shit. And eventually I just got no enthusiasm for it anymore. And then I started playing MMORPGs again after years of like not playing them. So I was just like, my life is not sad enough now that I've kind of divorced myself from football, so I should get my new hobby. I should get my new old hobby, which was playing MMORPGs, and become like sad and irritated by that, which I have continued to this day.
Brave soul.
And I've been
doing
it today.
Part of my interest is, or part of my lack of interest now is that, like, if Wolves are on the pitch, you know what's going to happen in that match. And for a while, if City were on the pitch, the opposite was going to happen. Yes. But now the only interesting thing is that City aren't that good anymore. I'm like, that's interesting. And that's as exciting as it gets.
Although that meme you showed me the other day, was that from Wolves, or was that from a Wolves fan, or was that just someone else like pissing on Wolves? Like,
What
you
was
know,
this?
it's the one where they've like very cleverly done like the hourglass with the
Oh, with the wall symbol. Yeah,
just
I
draining
don't
through.
think that was from a fan. No.
Right, I was going to say whoever's like
Probably a West Brom fan.
this. Okay, yeah. Are they the closest? Is that the derby?
Yeah,
The Black
yeah.
Country
But obviously,
derby?
we've got beef with like Villa or basically anyone that's nearby.
Well, the thing is, anyone that's like, there is quite a glut and a concentration of like teams all around there. Like I suppose you're not too far from Manchester either, and well, no, actually,
Yeah, the North tends to. We're not. I mean, maybe if I was about to badmouth Stoke then, but then I think we might be in the same league as them soon, so it's not worth the risk. But yeah, I mean, back in the good old days of proper English football violence, like there was a lot of weekends you just wouldn't go into town because Wolves had a beef with several different teams, so it was all going to kick off.
The excellently heady mix of like economically depressed places and
Right.
booze, and
Local sort of
hooliganism.
tribal. Yeah, it was what a time to be alive.
Well, yeah, we've all got to have our harmful hobbies. Maybe there
So
is
apparently they're bringing
psychologically
back
something about that.
like
Yeah.
some release. They are bringing back having a pint on the terraces in the city grounds as a trial.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, presumably in plastic cups, because you know what football fans like.
Yes.
If you've got something with any aerodynamic and weight behind it, something's getting launched at someone
And away
else.
it goes.
Well, now I'm just thinking of like, actually, like that made me. You said like things in plastic cups being thrown, which then immediately, like, and this
It will be this.
This is exactly. I think this is actually quite instructive of like the way like my ADHD manifests itself in just continually like track jumping, like tangent. So like you mentioned that, I think about someone throwing something, which immediately makes me think of being at a festival, which immediately makes me think that the thing that's going to get put into the glass is piss, which immediately then makes me think of being at Reading Festival where the piss gets thrown around, and then immediately then leads me to Daphne and Celeste having like a million pints of piss thrown at them.
I thought you were going to go for the Dillinger one where he did a poo in a bag and threw it into the crowd.
Yes, he did. He did. I was there at that one actually. He,
my friend was there as well.
Yeah, and yeah, he did. Ben, he needed a shit, and so he just decided to incorporate it into the show and done one on the front of the stage.
He hated the rest of the band so much that he was just like, "This isn't. You're going to see so much shit today. We may as well have some more." And threw his own shit into the crowd in a bag, not raw.
I was never the biggest fan of Dillinger, I must admit. I didn't mind some of their stuff, but I feel like if you're going for that style of thing, I was much more, and I weren't really even the biggest fan of them either, but I think I was much more of a, what are they called? Begins with C. You all know them, Mark.
Converge,
yeah.
I fucking love Converge.
Who are not quite the same as Dillinger, but like they have, I don't know, maybe it's something about the chords they use and stuff, but we'll save that for one of our solo music chats where we start talking about
like we can really nerd out on something.
But talking about nerding out, Ben, tell us about your the One Piece thing you went to. It sounds very auspicious, like early access, whatever. But was it a launch party or something?
Essentially, except I don't even know how to describe it. Like every few months, there's like a new product that like gets shipped out for those poor suckers who are into shiny pieces of cardboard to buy.
Because nerds live under capitalism also.
Yeah. Gosh, it's certain. I will say, playing this game specifically has really made me re-examine like how much I really want to like be a consumer, because like card games specifically, holy crap, are arguably just underneath what I feel is already in predatory with like gambling. I feel like just
Well,
I feel like the
isn't
card
it?
game industry, yeah, it's just under,
Like
but they just do
booster
it in a
packs
way.
and stuff.
Exactly. I feel like it's slightly less bad, but it's a hair below.
It's
Yeah.
it's not far below FIFA Ultimate Team.
Uh, Absolutely, like quite easily. But basically, what I went to yesterday evening was a kind of pre-release event. So the 13th generation of like One Piece cards are coming out next Friday. But if you pay £30, you can go to this kind of like solo event where you get 6 boosters of the new one, and then you can play with those cards, which is pretty fun and quite helpfully. Once you pay that £30, you don't have to pay for the boosters. That was like the entry and paying for the boosters, so you just get them when you go in, and you're able to play with the new cards, and you're able to keep them. And so, yeah, it was good. It was good. It was my first one I've ever gone to. I think, to be honest, I'm probably not going to make a regular habit of going to those, because technically the next edition is coming out in January. So like you can see how like it kind of, you're spinning on that hamster wheel all over and over and over again. But it was good. It was good. I was able to catch up with some people who I haven't seen like since I first started playing One Piece. Chill with them. It was a good time. But yeah,
It's good to see that the card game industry also does basically what like the MMO, RPG and video game industry is now doing, which is, would you like to buy a more expensive version so that you can just play it 3 days earlier than all the fucking peons?
yeah. I mean, like you're not wrong, because I think on top of it as well is, depending on like how people want to play and what type of like leaders they're interested in, you never know what you're going to get. So like you might get stuff that's helpful for you, or you might just leave with more stuff that you'll never use. And it's just the only thing that stops me from like kind of really taking a step back and just not really being like involved in this card game community. It's just that I have been able to trade so many cards that I'm not going to use to other people, and they've been able to actually use them. So I'm just like, it leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. I won't say that it balances it out, but it's not as bad as what it could have been if I didn't trade with other people.
So I have a question directly associated with that there. You said like trading them with other people. Now, I assume that just like in any online game, any multiplayer game and stuff, that there must be like a meta that forms around which cards are played. So my thinking there is, when you say that, like, it's like so does that mean that some cards just become utterly fucking useless because no one's going to play them because the nature of the thing is that you need to keep buying, because this is what the thing I've always like, I think this really puts me off about like these card games is one, whenever I've looked at Magic the Gathering or I've downloaded like the online version, I'm just like, oh, there's already too many rules. Like 2 seconds in, I'm like, no, this is too many rules. So that puts me off personally because my brain can't sort of handle it. But the other thing is like, so it's this fact of like, we don't go out and we both buy the same deck and then we play with the exact same cards. You build your deck by collecting them like panini stickers. Is that right? So you're putting it together based off like essentially like loot crates.
Yes. So like you can get the booster packs, which are 12 cards per pack, or you could get a box, which is 24 packs of 12 cards. And this is oh my god, I didn't tell you last night. So many things happened last night, which is kind of crazy. Okay, so some people, some people
that felt really pointed. Like some people,
not me,
mentioning
but
their
some
names.
people.
No. No, like some people like me, they'll get just a couple of packs, and that's all right. I went to pre-release. I got 6 packs, which was cool. I bought 2 others because, like, basically because they're not officially allowed to be sold until next Friday. During pre-release, you can actually buy them, but any other time you can't. So it was just like, why not?
Oh, FOMO as well, good. Oh,
A little bit. But
the game's
some people
all here.
Some people buy a box, which is like 100-ish quid. Which, like, I've seen people get most of the things that they need from like a box and like trading with other people. Cool. Some people buy a case, which is, I think it is between 6 to 12 boxes. So that shoots up the price exponentially, like
Yes.
800 plus. And then in the hope of getting something. So
This is like trying to figure out an old currency.
yeah,
So
100%.
there's like X amount of boosters to a box.
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of boxes to a case.
So bearing in mind that there is
Yeah.
like the meta,
Mm-hmm.
would I be right in thinking that like anyone that's going to be playing this like professionally and competitively, like how much do professionals usually have to spend on buying packs to compete? Which I assume is just rolled into the cost of, if I win this tournament, then I make money back. But like, so like FIFA Ultimate Team, the people I feel like that are competing like in the competitions like at a professional level, like esports level, I assume that they all have to kind of lump out $3,000 or something over the course of a new season, because they've got to keep buying the fucking cards, because you've got to get, like, the meta is going to be is that I need to have Ronaldo in my team and I need to have Messi, or like whatever it is, you know, I need to have the best players. And I imagine, just like in my mind, I imagine just like FIFA Ultimate Team, do you then get loads of players at the top levels just all playing the same, essentially the same decks because that's the meta? Or is there room within the way they've constructed the game that actually you could run lots of different builds? Or is there like, you choose to play like a sort of a counter build, or like a defensive build, or is there an ultra attacking build?
So from my understanding, and just so you know, I only really started playing properly in like end of July.
Well, you could expand this out to Magic the Gathering or card games. These types of card games in general, I imagine.
Yeah, but from what I've seen, there usually may be like a deck that is kind of a cut above the rest because of just like what crazy stuff it can do. There has been a period of time where I know we talked about this previously, where Bandai, the company, were just like, no, we're going to ban some of these cards. You're not going to be allowed to do this. When they put in the bans, the game just explodes into like diversity. Like, you see lots of weird stuff, and it's really cool. But the biggest issue at the moment is that, of course, it's not even an issue. I suppose it's just how it kind of came across. One Piece obviously is a Japanese IP. Bandai, Japanese company IP. They, in Japan, they get like new editions and stuff like months ahead of time before the Western side. So you kind of get that insight, and people just kind of follow Japan, the East, and like how it is. So right now, from what's coming up on next Friday, there are basically going to be 3 different decks that all beat each other, but those 3 decks are so strong, with there's like 100 and something different types of decks that you can make. A good, like, not even a good player, like a relatively okay player with one of those top 3 decks will just walk over all of the other decks that are in this game. So currently, yes.
So is that's because I just think about this. So like, that's how they basically nerf stuff, is by just taking the card out of circulation, because that is obviously a problem for a game that you need to balance, where you literally print something. Yeah, like obviously in an MMORPG, you can go like, you log in one day and you go like, oh, my hunter's shit now. because they've just
Yeah.
nerfed all my skills. But like,
Yeah.
I guess that's a problem. Which also, obviously, as we're all not fans of capitalism, that's a handy thing for him, isn't it? That like, we take the card out of circulation and then we're going to print some new ones for something else, and you're just going to have to
Yeah.
buy those ones now.
I have not felt very happy about it. There is a deck that I really, really like that is relatively cheap, and it's okay. But the top 3 decks that I was talking about are just so much better. There's no point to me running that deck because at that point I'm just paying to lose. But like it's hard because like then I'm trying to think like, am I being competitive or am I trying to enjoy myself? Where does my own source of enjoyment come from? And that is an existential question that I didn't expect to like ask in a One Piece tournament. But like, yeah, it's an interesting one. But yeah.
Okay, well, I've got another question then, or something else I want to kind of know, which is you talk about enjoyment. Now,
Yeah.
What is this?
No, me and Mark will and you will understand this as well, Ben. But me and Mark especially were children of the 80s, so therefore we are like we've been like we were born in like consumerism and stuff like that, and so we understand the kind of the juxtaposition and the weird kind of like self-pity and guilt that comes with being a quite avowed anti-capitalist socialist, but also, and I think we were talking about this the other day,
Being
Mark, as well.
programmed to consume.
Exactly, and actually getting a lot of enjoyment out of consuming. Like we were saying the other day, but there's nothing makes you feel good like picking up 4 indie games in a Steam sale and going like, I've got
bought a new
bargains.
thing.
Bargain.
Yeah,
Yep,
I've
yep,
consumed,
yep,
I've
yep.
bought, and that makes me feel good. Now, so with that in mind, what was I going to say about it? When you went there, I don't know whether that was included in the cost of your ticket for entry or whether you bought a pack, but we know already from you sharing with us, you received a rare card or something. So tell us about how that felt, because that's the other side of it. Whilst I understand how utterly predatory this is on all other levels outside of actually playing the game, which I feel like is any game where you like go somewhere and you interact with another human being in this day and age, I feel like that's quite a wholesome thing. It's just a shame that all of these things are conducted under capitalism and therefore there's so many ugly things around it. But just like I know gambling is bad and it leads people to fucking suicide and all sorts of weird shit, I still do understand that it is fucking thrilling to put a little bet on something and like see it come in. So I imagine in the same way, it is also sad for all the things that we don't like about the strong arming you into fucking buying packet after packet of One Piece cards. But how did it feel to get that card? And I'm giving you permission as your unk to feel to enjoy that and not feel guilty, because there is no ethical consumption of the capitalism, so don't feel
You got to
guilty.
get what you can get.
Is there not? Yeah. I think it's really interesting because first and foremost, I didn't actually pull it. So like I got a couple of packs and then someone who was there, who's like been really, really chill. He was around as well and he had already got like his deck sorted. I had like the pack and I was talking to someone. It was like, oh, Ben, do you want me to open that for you? It's just like, yeah, sure, go for it. Cause like I had been really, really unlucky. Cause like some of the cards that I wanted for a deck, I did not get from those like pre-purchased ones. I was like, oh gosh, 2 left. Let's see how this goes. So I started opening one on the right-hand side and I was like, okay. But when Elliot, the person who opened it, was like, Ben, oh my God, look. And he showed me the card. Not only was it one of my favorite characters from the show that I really, really enjoyed watching because he's just like such a funny guy, but it was like the alternate version. It made me so happy because like I was talking to the person next to me. It's like, oh, one day I really hope to like pull an alternate version of like a leader because I haven't done so yet. And then he was like, it's a really cool feeling when that happens. So when that card was unveiled, I was over the moon, and it was really funny because like another person in front of me, they had bought 2 boxes, and they also got one of the same card that I did, basically. And they're like, "Oh, I can see it's like going for like 80 plus at the moment." And I was like, "Cool, I'm not going to sell it. This is my favorite character." Like, actually, I have 3 favorite characters. This is like top 2. And I was just like, yeah, absolutely no way am I selling this. But yeah, it was a really, really good feeling. And I think that is also why I'm really, really, really cognizant about like how predatory this can be. Yeah.
But I have one last question. It's actually 2 questions on before we can maybe move on from One Piece. But one is, can I make an entire deck out of nothing but Don Quixote Doflamingo cards? And if I can, will I lose?
Well, it depends which one, because there's one that's coming out. There's one coming out later. No, I think that's one that's coming out in January. A new like leader form. Looks very strong. There's also a current one that you could probably make out of it. I haven't seen anyone ever play it, so I don't know. But like, you could.
It would only be this chump that would want to make a card out of that. I don't even watch One Piece. I've seen little bits, but I do know of that character, and I've become slightly obsessed. I've watched people do lore videos on him, and I like the fact that he's just dressed from head to toe in pink, and he walks around like a fucking weirdo. And so only this guy would build like a massive pink deck of cards that would just fail me, but be happy about it, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a good time. Again, very cognizant about my foray into capitalism. I mean, I can't really say foray because like it's surrounding, it's always there, it's ever present, it's always going to be there.
Yeah,
but just my intentional foray, I guess, would be more appropriate to say. But yeah, it was a good time. It's happening again on Tuesday, which I'm not going to do because like I'm not made of money.
No.
And I want to have a good night's sleep because I got back at like close to midnight.
Where'd you have to go for it?
Trains.
London.
So no, that's the annoying thing. So basically, it's in Canterbury, but because of where I live specifically, I have to take a train from one station to get to Canterbury, and then I have to swap again. So it's just changes that slow things down rather than anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
I suppose I can't remember what I was going to say. So something about captains. Oh, that's it. Because we were talking about how like the One Piece is leans a little bit, or we can interpret it that way, but a little bit sort of like towards more like Marxist left wing sort of theories. What's the community like then? Like. Or is that in direct opposition to the messaging? Because as we know,
it's going to be like the Warhammer community, isn't it?
Yeah. What was the other IP the other day? Oh, it was Halo, wasn't it? Because Trump and that started declaring that Trump had also ended the console wars, and they started putting out AI generated slop of him as the Master Chief, and like people were saying, like, you stupid dickheads, like you are, you would be who the Master Chief is fighting against. So I guess, but there was lots of people going, oh yeah, the Flood, or these people are actually like, they basically suddenly started trying to rewrite what Halo is as, it's always been very right wing. It's like, get your, like, I mean, I don't really give a shit about Halo, but get Halo's
I have
name.
no understanding of the Halo war.
Well, the funny thing is that the Flood, like what they were doing, they was comparing the Flood to essentially immigration, or what they call, and for anyone that's listening, well, no one's going to see the video of this because I never put it up. I only put the sound up, but I'm doing scare quotes of like illegal immigration. But the Flood is not like the other. So the first couple of games, I think you fight the Covenant, who are an alien race. The Flood is more like an unstoppable viral plague, like that takes people over and absorbs their intelligence and stuff. And that's why there are what they call like the halos, which are these massive rings in space. And the idea is some sort of ancient race built them, and they built them so that they would like it just fucking annihilates whole solar systems or galaxies or whatever. Because the idea is that the flood are so pervasive and cannot be stopped that you just need to fucking kill all life in like a galaxy, because the thing that they need to spread is life. It's a zombie type thing. So obviously the White House, pretty cool that the government is doing that, is comparing the migrants coming across the border to a viral zombie invasion. So completely fucking disgusting, obviously. To which many of the creators of Halo were coming out and going, no, this is never what we intended. But anyway, what they don't realise is, and someone pointed this out, is that actually Trump's government, or the fucking religious right, they are essentially the Covenant. So you're fighting the Covenant in the first couple of games because the Covenant want to turn on these Halo super weapons, because they believe if they usher in the death of everyone, that's essentially going to cause a rapture. So they are these fucking mad religious zealots that want to.
So the Covenant is America.
Yeah, exactly. So like you got pictures of him, like Trump dressed as the Master Chief, which like. Who is it? I watch a couple of people, but I think it's Mike from the Humanist Report keeps calling him President Neck Pussy, which because if you watch where he's like where his shirt is buttoned up, he's always got this like what they call the nussy. So yeah, next time you see Trump, you'll be able to look at his neck pussy.
I would literally pay for someone to just like
to take that out of my brain.
To
just unknow it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's
what a term.
But so what's the fan base like in the flesh?
So from the people that I've met, they honestly are pretty chill. They're pretty they've got the finger on the pulse. Like I haven't really had any like bad experiences with the folks there. I would say that for the people in front of me, I think they're chill. I obviously I don't really know them as well as I would know you or Mark, but I would say they're pretty chill. They have a pretty strong sense of what's right and wrong that feels like kind of aligns with me. But I will say that like outside of my circle, that's where it can be a little bit of the Wild West. So there was a thing a couple of months ago where because in similar fashion, when the internet is all about clicks and just like outrage and just getting that information, some genius decided to post a video or a tweet talking about how One Piece wasn't political. And like, it was so funny because every single person, and the funniest thing about One Piece is because it's been going on since like the late 90s, there's so much references
evidence
so the hilarious thing is like I was never seeing the same thing twice. Everyone was just coming with something new and just like different evidence, like this is political, this is political, this is political, this is political. Like there's just so much, and it was hilarious because every single thing that I saw was new. I never saw something repeat itself, just because like there's just so much to really go through. So like you do get some of those silly people who say silly things, but by and large it does feel pretty cool. It's interesting as well because this is a really weird segment, so please allow me to kind of deviate ever so slightly. But I
love a tangent, Ben. If you've had to listen to,
you're in the good company.
If you've had to listen to about a billion of my tangents over the time we've known each other, I feel like I can grant you the grace to like at least do like a one tangent. So you have the floor, Ben.
Okay, I'll keep this quick because It's a weird one, but basically, many years ago, and God, how many was at least 13 years ago? I would say. Was it 13 years ago? No, it was about 10, 9 or 10 years ago. That's what it was. I was really wanting to get into the publishing industry. I had previously interned at a pretty big publisher that was really cool, but the publishing industry in itself has so many people who want to get into publishing that there are literally not enough jobs for the amount of people who want to get into publishing, especially because the bigger imprints, and back then there was not a sustainable like living wage. People did it for the love of the game anyway. But because also
because their rich parents would allow them
Yeah.
to take no wage until they
Yeah,
became
to
a
open a
proper
publishing
journalist.
house.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly that too. And on top of that, because a lot of the publishing houses were kind of hyper centralized in London as well, there were lots of different points. But the reason why I say this is because way back when I was very I was I was talking to people within the industry, just learning a little bit about like how things were moving and just trying to figure out like what the next steps were and just like understanding how the industry moved. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because back then I said that there is a very huge space for people to get really involved with like making trends, videos, and just things on TikTok. And this was when Instagram was still like a titan, basically. And I was like, I feel like people my age, when back then I was like 21, 22, Instagram was still there, but I was thinking about like what would happen next, because it's the exact same thing about Facebook, right? Because like Facebook was the thing for a while until it wasn't. Instagram was the thing until it wasn't. Now I feel that TikTok is the thing. There's a question to be seen if it will ever not be the thing, but we'll see. But back then I was like, you know what? Instagram is good, but what's even better is video. And I was talking to people in the industry. I was like, look, there's something going to be really big with people who are creating content surrounding books, but are able going to be to do it in a video format. And by and large, a few years later, after I completely like crashed out of the publishing industry because like I couldn't get a job, and even though I really wanted to post pandemic, that wasn't happening. So I was like, you know what? Let's go to Manchester, and we did. That was great. A few years later, I see an article talking about the meteoric rise of book talk. And I'm like, you mofos, I told you. I was blessed for one random moment by Apollo. He just threw his light upon me and it gave me the gift of prophecy. And the reason why
nothing with it, Ben.
I tried. Did they listen? No, it was all about Instagram. It was all about Twitter and stuff back then. But the reason why I bring this up is because now that monstrous wave of like, and I say monstrous in like a complimentary way, because there have been so many like creators that I found on like TikTok and stuff like that. They're doing good shit. But the reason why I bring this up is because in an unlikely twist and turn of events, people from Book Talk are now starting to read One Piece, which is like, I never thought I'd see the day, because like when it comes to Book Talk, there are many different things that do very well, but I feel like in certain, not communities, but in certain spaces and certain, what's the word that I'm looking for? Not circles. Kind of like certain, what do you call it? Platforms. Some stuff does better than others. So like people actually talking about like how they're getting into One Piece and they're like, this slaps. I'm just like, yeah, it does. But like, I never expected you of all people to talk about it. So it's been interesting because like the book talk people, they're digging in, they're loving it, they're fine. And the thing is as well, I think something that really really helps is just that like for all intents and purposes, I don't really talk to many people that are like younger than me, I guess. But for those people, they seem to have their hat screwed on. They're like, oh, this is cool. I can see this parallel to this. And I will, Ian, please do like cut this out if you need to. I've seen many funny memesters, and I will say this before I move on. There has
Just before you say anything,
yeah.
I'm not going to cut it out because I can't be bothered to
So be
edit it. So just like that, now it's all on you.
Okay. Okay, so there is a certain arc in One Piece where Luffy, the captain who's declaring that he's going to be king of the pirates, really, really cool, he says that he's going to take on the Navy, which in the universe is what is called the world government. So he tells his marksman person, Usopp, he's like, Usopp, shoot down that flag. Now, baller, love it, great moment.
Yeah, I'm getting good vibes off of all of this. You're not going wrong so far.
Very, very, very based. I've seen some memesters, and they've been on the younger side, and they've been very, very funny. They have superimposed a certain country's flag.
Oh no!
And they're like, Usopp, shoot down that flag. And it's been interesting because like they're
I thought it was going to be a Luigi meme.
No. You never know. Yeah, but they're just. It's funny because like I just never expected from it, but just like on top of this as well, I feel like because there is a lot of corporate effort to really, really extract a lot of value from these platforms and the people, when you see really big creators talking about these issues and like relating it back to real life events, and also just having such a big platform that they can just kind of say or do anything and not really get that consequence, it's really funny to see. But yeah, it's just it's great. Like I feel very strange. I feel like to the younger generation, I might be reaching the unk status, but I had a strange urge to say that the kids are all right when I saw that meme. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Good on you.
We're all unks to someone.
Exactly.
I mean, I think me and Mark are too close in age. We can't make like a fucking unk centipede going down.
The human centipede.
Yeah, but I think we're just, me and Mark will have to just be your dual unks, and then you can just go and unk it up at the local One Piece with the with Gen Z.
Bro, I think there's like maybe one person older than me there. I feel, yeah, everyone. It's crazy because like some people are talking about like how they can't make it because they have to be in for like a lab thing, or they have to go for like a social, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, yeah.
You can't make it because it's past your bedtime.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. No, the kids are all right.
That sounds good. Also, I have seen like a mate said the other day, didn't they, that like that One Piece flags are cropping up at more and more like protests. Been seen in like South America. Is it Venezuela and stuff like wherever. It's becoming a bit of a symbol, which is kind of crazy. Like you're saying, that the fact that it's been going since like '99, and it's like just now becoming like breaking through into a more mainstream area. But yeah, loving that. I'm just going to grab a Pepsi. Talk amongst yourselves.
I think to talk briefly about you're trying to figure out whether you're in it to win or to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I'm constantly having the same to do with my love-hate relationship with Tekken. In that some of the characters are just obviously better than others. And I'm like, I could just play one of those if I want to win. And then I pick one up and it feels like it's cheating. I don't want to win by cheating. So then I pick a character that's deliberately not great. And I'm like, why am I losing all the time? Getting so angry at this. It's like, God damn it, Can't defeat myself. Never mind someone else.
Yeah,
Stupid
yeah.
meta. You should go smart.
It's just so funny because like this I don't know when it'll zoom in. It's not gonna focus. This is the card
You have to
that
do that like you're doing makeup.
Oh, true. This is the card that I want to play. She's very, very fun, very, very aggressive. But this is the card that, if I play correctly, will let me actually win. This is even more out of focus. But like, I just have so much fun playing this one rather than the other one. But like, I don't know. It's hard. So I really need to. I need to like really figure out what I want, because I can kind of snooze and I can get a few wins here and there from this. And I will go on a generational loss streak with this. But the win when I get with this will be so much more rewarding. And like, it's just trying to figure that out, man. Like, how many losses am I willing to take to get that like absolute 100% dopamine hit of like winning with a character that I want to play and actually enjoy?
That's kind of a good segue actually into like what I've been doing with the latest Guild Wars 2 expansion. Because the thing is that obviously all these games have a meta. And so like if you then like look up guides and stuff, it's like, okay, well, certain moves will reduce the cooldown of other moves, and then you've got different rotations for doing like what they call like burst damage and stuff. So when you build something, you're looking at your like sort of passive traits that you can set up, and you've got like different tracks in Guild Wars. So maybe you've got like 8 to choose from, but you can only ever have 3 of them active, and they're your what they call your specializations. And they will be things like, oh, if you select different nodes on the track, and that node will give, if you're using a great sword, then that will be stronger. If you have this skill tick, then when you do a certain skill, that will, I don't know, recharge or reduce the cooldown on another skill. So the idea is that obviously in these kind of build craftings, you're sitting there to think, well, what do I open with? What do I follow with? Like, how am I going to sort of like build? Sometimes you need to like build up ammunition, as it were, or dots. And then once you've got a full set, then you can like do a move to like burn them down and like do massive damage and stuff like that. But in this latest expansion, I've just been like, because they've brought out new specializations, I've been sort of more just kind of going, well, I'm not going to bother reading the guide, because primarily the expansion's only been out for a few days. So therefore, there isn't really, it's not like before when I'm like, oh, I want to play a Mesmer and I want to play a Chronomancer, and I can go there and there will be about fucking 100 different builds for power Chronomancer or condition damage Chronomancer or whatever. And there's all these different ways of doing it, because it's been like they've picked over the bones of it. But it's a bit like they can't give me that same info, so I can't just follow it. So I was like, do you know what? So I should just fiddle it around with myself and not care. I'll just do what makes me sort of happy. And that is actually how I've always seen. It's funny, before, that's how I would have seen you having the most fun with an MMORPG. I remember the first time I ever experienced that was kind of when I used to play Elder Scrolls Online, which was after my football days. That's the first MMO I got really back into. And with that, I can remember, like, I was dead set on, no, I'm going to make like a mage that wears heavy armor but is going to be a spellcaster, and that's going to be my vibe. So I was going off of like almost like a thematic thing, because in my head I was like, oh, I thought of an idea, I want to make that character. And I can remember my friend like feeling sort of quite uncomfortable with the fact that essentially what he's doing is like when Alan Partridge says like, "You stop getting Bond wrong," like it's like, stop getting the game wrong, because really I'm never going to be any good, because I'm not a mage, or I'm not like heavy like damage like a tank. So I've built this hybrid build which pleases no one but myself, and like I guess the more I got into these kind of games, the more I would start looking at build guides and stuff like that. I think I'm at the point now where, whilst I'm not looking at them, I think I've got enough knowledge of how these games work that I can, when I do a hybrid build, or I kind of like just do a build like, oh, I thematically want to make this build, I kind of have a little bit of a better idea of what I'm doing. And so like I do make something a little bit more effective, but I always know I'm not going with like the current meta, which has been quite enjoyable because with this latest sort of expansion, it's not just like the meta in terms of builds. They've changed a lot about it to make part of Guild Wars 2's big thing for me is that the story's there, but really it's about just encouraging you, just kind of just fucking around and just roaming around and adventuring. And part of it always wants you to do is stuff like map completion. So on each map you've got, each zone, you'll have quests that just continually cycle. So you can just go around doing quests. And if you walk into an area, you're automatically kind of doing the quest. You don't have to go and talk to that guy. You just kind of like, you're doing it and you contribute, and then it will go, right, you've completed it. You've also got like, because in Guild Wars 2, they want you to try and get to places, like climb things, jump in puzzles. So around the place you'll see like, well, around the place on map, you'll see points of interest. So if you go there, it will unlock and give you XP. But they've also got these, what they call like these vistas or whatever it is. And so you'll see like this map spinning up there on a mountain. You've got to figure out, how do I get up the mountain? So that, and then you click it. So, and then it shows you like this nice little cutscene of, oh, this is the view from up here. But the idea is that you've got all these different kind of events, meta events, places of interest, things to collect, and they're all dotted around a map. So it very much encourages you to go around and just do them all by just roaming around and sort of like, it's quite free thought form. With this latest expansion, I've seen some people moaning about this, that like they're kind of like locking you into the first areas. The idea is you go out to this, it's this island that apparently has been hidden by something for centuries, and you're both trying to get out there, and this evil faction's trying to get out there, and you end up shipwrecked. And so the first zone is kind of like this nice beach, and again, Guild Wars 2 does make really pretty environments. But they're not letting you go any further until you've completed a lot of the story, but they seem to have tweaked it so that it feels to me that it's kind of, I guess you could say it's forcing you into doing it, but I see it another way. Whereas before, like, big part of the game is to go and do map completion, but you're not locked into it to a degree. So therefore, I wouldn't complete the map or go around and do things, because I'd just go, oh, I'm going to go in that next area, and I just keep going around. Whereas now it's kind of like they've stepped back a bit and tried to sort of craft it, I think, to encourage you to like, no, why don't you stay here and do more stuff here and experience more stuff here, and maybe see what benefits you get from actually doing stuff like map completion before we let you move on to the next stage, which has been quite enjoyable. But it has highlighted something that's really fucked me off, which is a combination of my ADHD or OCD or whatever the fuck it is, coupled with the annoying thing that MMORPGs often do, which is, and Guild Wars 2, this is one of my major gripes with it I've found recently, is that idea of you have to fucking do the campaign story for each expansion with the other character before it'll let you go there. So they've released all these new specializations, and one of them for the Ranger is like, I want to say it's called Windbreaker, but it's not. It's something wind, but essentially it's like it's a new like archery class. So the idea is that you're doing ranged attacks, and then you can summon like a special spiritual bow that's made of wind, and you will have like big damage, like elemental wind arrow attacks or whatever it is. But in this latest expansion, they've released, and this is where the mixture of these two things have combined to make this really fucking irritating thing for me, which is they've released, and I think I showed a picture of it or I was talking about it the other day, one of the new mounts, or the skins for the mounts, is a giant bumblebee. Now, in the last expansion, they released a new pet that your ranger can get, which is a bumblebee, and it fucking fires lightning at them as you send it to them. That doesn't matter. Don't ask why the bee does that, but it does. So,
do not ask why the bee fires lightning.
Yeah. So I wanted, and bearing in mind I've just been talking about like having a strong sense of like thematics, like I want this to fit. I've been playing through my Mesmer, which is like more of like a magician sort of class. You create illusions of yourself and they all attack. But I've got my ranger. It's like, I want to try the new spiritual wind bow ranger class. But I can't go and do that until I go and get the fucking bee as my pet, because I want to ride a bee and I want to have the bee follow me, a little bee follow me around and fight with me. And I thought, okay, well, where do I get the bee? So I search up and it says, oh, it's in the Janthea Wilds, which is the other expansion before this one. And but basically, long story short, I can't just go to where the fucking bee is and it's in the third patch of that expansion. So I've got to play through God knows how much fucking story to get to where the bee is, just so that I can satisfy my brain and the two things match. And I can't go and do it until I have the fucking bee. So like I went there and all day long I've been playing like the fucking old expansion because I just want to get to where the goddamn bee is. And part of me is just like I've played this already on my other character. Why can I not just go here now? Like I understand like I might have to play all the missions again, but I should have been able to unlock the map and just go there and do that. Now there is another way of doing it, which is I could start spamming in the like local chat. Can anyone become my friend? And then I can get a teleport to friend like token, which I don't know if I have to buy that from the cash shop or I can buy it with in-game currency, but I have to obtain one, and then potentially they could go to where B is and then I could teleport to them and then get B. But I don't have friends because So I don't have B. And so I've kind of been... it's funny because obviously I've played this new expansion where the way it kind of like moves you through, because always at a new expansion, Guild Wars 2 likes to do this thing where you go and you start the mission, and it usually starts with a lot of like, I run around, I talk to this person, all these people are giving me like exposition about what the fucking story is essentially. And then you usually do like a kind of like a sort of a mission, and this mission like it's like an opening mission will usually deliver you to where the whole thing's going to be, the new expansion. And what they love to do is that's when you get to where you're going to start the new expansion, they'll do this thing where the camera pans out and then it shows you the title card for the latest expansion, Guild Wars 2 Visions of Eternity. And that's what they like. They love to do that. But the latest one, it really felt like they'd taken care to sort of, you don't feel like you're listening to too much text. It didn't take me long to get onto the thing. I'm actively doing bits of like a quest. Like they really try to make you feel like, oh, we are going across the sea to this secret island. We don't know where we're going. Krakens would attack us at different points and you're fighting stuff off and and then you get shipwrecked and now you're there. But it kind of keeps things moving nicely. But going back and having to play through the last one has really, which I didn't notice at the time because I was just like, oh, cool, it's a new expansion. I'm just enjoying being in a new area. But going back now and playing it just so I can get the fucking B has really like highlighted like how shit that last expansion was in terms of like, I literally, most of the time I've been just sort of like, just on my second monitor, just surfing the web whilst I just wait to have the stupid characters stop talking. And this isn't even usually my gripes with that kind of shit is more Final Fantasy 14 based, which is you're expecting me to read fucking text boxes. And Guild Wars 2 doesn't do that.
And so
Guild
many
Wars
of them.
2 is like, we are fully voiced. So you can just fucking sit there and just watch it and they'll just talk. The good thing about Guild Wars 2 as well is that your characters talk in game. There's no cutscene. So you can kind of wander off a little bit and you can hear them still talking. So you can kind of sort of do things. Maybe I'll sort my inventory or my bags or something. So you can do things. So in a way, the story is delivered to you in one of the least like obstructive kind of ways possible, because it's like, we don't expect you to sit here and have to click tick boxes or even just sit here and listen. You can also fuck about whilst you're doing it, but it will just voice it and you can listen to it. So essentially I just got very angry that part of my brain
Couldn't get your bee.
that needed to have matching bees for the mount and for my pet has basically led me down this path where I've just had to sit through fucking shit tons of text, not text, like speech and dialogue, and I still haven't got my B. And nor am I going to fucking get it. And then there's like, and then all the time I'm playing it, I'm like, I must get the B. But at the same time, I'm like, well, but now I'm not playing the latest expansion because I'm on some mission to get a fucking B from somewhere else. And I bet you any money when I get the sodding B, it's going to be shit. I don't even know what it's going to be like.
It's shit.
I've got a shit B. And the thing that pisses me off actually is that when you, in like World of Warcraft, if you tame a pet, you go, there is animal, and you just go to it and go like, I tame you, and it protests a bit, but then it just becomes your pet after a bar goes down. This in Guild Wars, you can't just go, oh, there is B. I tame B. You have to go and find a juvenile version of that. So whilst I'm
Jesus
trying to do the campaign to get myself to the third patches zone to get the B, which is in one like fucking area up there are Jantheory bees just flying around me all the time, but not juvenile ones. So it's almost like the fucking game is goading me with bees. So I don't know. Like I feel like I started on a tangent and a tangent is so fucking hard that like I don't even know what I think I've just like worn myself out talking about the stupid bee. But essentially,
It's most anyone's ever said fuck talking about bees, and I've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the comparison between something so inoffensive as a small pet bee and a man saying fuck so many times.
Yeah, but it does shoot lightning, so. Or I think it does anyway. I think it does. I think it does.
You'd be disappointed if it doesn't when you get it.
What have you been doing, Mark, games-wise and stuff? Because I always see on the sidebar of Discord, it always looks like you're doing lots of things, but I feel like you're like me, where we just continually open different games and play for a bit and then go to the next one.
Yeah, well, Virtua Fighter 5 has had another massive update, probably to make up for the fact that they announced the development of VF6 far too early and now have nothing to show for it. But it's very good. And they like the thing that kept me playing fighting games as a kid was that you could keep playing them and unlock new hats or a nice coat, or like it just becomes like a grinding dress up game effectively. But every time you completed the arcade mode in these old games, you get a new costume, and they've basically introduced that, but like even more. So that's going to keep me occupied, and it also scratches the need I have for an actual more kung fu film fighting game since Tekken got so anime. So that's pretty good. Also, Silent Hill 2 rumbles ever on in the background, so I'm dipping in and out of that whenever I can get my brother to watch. Sounds pretty good. But also, I've been very good in the Steam horror-themed Halloween sale, and all I have purchased is no.
Oh no, I haven't been good.
Yeah,
I've been bad. I've been
just
bad,
so
in
used
fact.
to saying I've bought Final Fantasy stuff. Is Resident Evil 7, because I only played it through once when it first came out.
Is that the
Biohazard?
Is that the big mummy milkers steppy lady?
No, that's 8.
Oh, okay.
The one that I'm too scared to play.
Really?
Yeah, 7 is basically like Texas Chainsaw Massacre if it
It's
had
such a
more
banger.
scary stuff in it. Whereas 8 is like if fucking Christopher Lee was in it at some point, it wouldn't have
Right.
surprised me because it is just like a big hammer horror
Yeah, it's much.
featuring mummy milkers. Like it's basically in Dracula's castle for part of it. So it's like this
Yeah.
is like a little more ridiculous.
I don't think I played one past like the first one, like on the PlayStation. Like, I just don't.
Yeah.
I just never really. I don't know. They never spoke to me. Maybe it's just too slow or something. But I don't know. But so Silent Hill, I guess, is that kind of like a bit more linear, so that you can kind of dip in and out. But you said like so. Obviously, I remember from like Street Fighter that yes, you could unlock like the color variants and stuff like that. So it's a bit like that. Now, let me ask you this. Just as an point of interest, and I wonder, like, to sort of analyze in some philosophical way, does this only take hold of you within fighting games, or do you have the urge to collect everything in other types of games as well? Does dress up go outside of fighting games, or is it like this is the game where I must collect?
Because I like the game, and because what you have to do each time to get the items are quite like comparatively simple compared to what you'd have to do in an MMO to get a new hat.
Yes.
Like I can keep beating the computer and keep getting nice things for it as well as playing the game. Whereas you have to invest so much time and effort into getting something in a different game where it's just, and then once you've got it in the game, it kind of like, well, I've got the hat now. Whereas at least with fighting games, I still have an interest in carrying on playing them.
I do want to get you inside Tyria, which is the world of Guild Wars 2, because, and actually, I don't know, like, what's your brother like with those sort of games? Or is he? Oh, he used to like Final Fantasy.
He's got like such an addictive personality when it comes to MMOs.
I just wonder whether he'd like Guild Wars 2 because
I think he would. To be fair,
you know that they call Guild Wars 2 Fashion Wars 2. Because the end game is just, and it's very easy to build. And actually, I was watching, I think she's called Annie Fuchsia or something like that. Anyway, she pops up on my Twitch every now and then, but she popped up because she was trying, she's a World of Warcraft player, and she was trying Guild Wars 2 for the first time. And obviously, whenever any streamer tries one of these games, all the community that have been, because there is always crossover. Just like me, I play a lot of WoW, but I also, I love Guild Wars 2, and then I'll dip in and out of any MMO RPG that's going, because also I am very reckless with my cash, and so I buy them all because I must try them all because I need variety. But you often I play more than one at a time, and that's quite common, I think, amongst MMORPG players. So of course she's all predominantly a World of Warcraft streamer, but people in a community, there will be people that play both of those games. So, of course, as soon as she starts playing it, all the Guild Wars 2 fans come out of the woodwork and stuff, and you get that thing where she's logged into the world and then she's just standing there surrounded by hundreds of different characters and people coming before, and then basically a fashion parade started. But I hadn't seen it before because I run around. I go to like the PvP arena or something, like the lobby, and I see people running around, and I see all kinds of crazy things. And there's one guy I always sort of see in the PvP lobby that because you can dye all of the elements of any outfit or piece of gear you get independently, like different colors, you can collect the different types of gear, the looks, and mix and match them. You can actually make some quite crazy stuff. So I always see this guy, he's playing a Char, which is like a big cat person, but he's made essentially like Super Saiyan Goku, and he's got this giant blonde hair. But she was there, and there's all these people coming around. So what I'm saying is you can build actually some quite impressive stuff. And some guy had made like Donald Trump out of one of the little the little people that you get. So he looked like an ugly little goblin Donald Trump, and they had a suit on. He had the navy suit with a red tie. Then there was someone people had been recreating people from World of Warcraft in Guild Wars 2. So Hogger turned up, who's one of the NPCs from like Elwyn Forest, and then there was like another Lady Jana from like the Alliance, and someone had come as fucking Thrall, the Orc chieftain or something, and I was just sort of watching these people just like parade themselves around, and like everyone in the chat is going fashion wars, and like, I get really excited about it. But yeah, it's like that is a game where it's quite easy to earn the currency to then get the different looks. So you can, because it has this kind of thing called the Wizard's Vault, which is another mechanism to actually make you go all around the world. It will say, go and complete these things in this place, score 5 kills in a PvP match, do this, and you do those, and it keeps giving you currency, and then you can go into the Wizard's Vault, and then they have a continually rotating, because you got to get some FOMO in there, rotating sort of different cosmetics. So there's fuckloads of hats and all sorts of mad shit, and you can put sparkly shit on your stuff. So
the phrase "fuckload of hats" will get in with nothing else. So when we've finally decided on like a regular day that we can play games to each other, and settled on a game, I'm more than happy for it to be Guild Wars 2.
Because it is like the whole base game, and Ben, this includes you as well if you want to get a hat. Okay. It's the base.
I love hats.
The base game is completely free, like all the way up to level 80, and then beyond 80, there's like loads of areas you can go in there. The expansions are better, but like to be honest, if you've played through like all of that and you enjoyed it, then you kind of have no problem with shelling out 25 quid per expansion, because you're like, well, I'm invested.
Just buying a game you want to play, yeah. But then you also have to buy Arby Day, Sea of Thieves and Night Rain.
That's true, yeah.
So not play those together.
I mean, how am I going to be able to afford the One Piece packs if I do?
Well, yes, it's time to do some hardcore budgeting.
I've always said though about like at this point in time, which is essentially like the death rattle, I think, of the. You know, like when we talk about like the British Empire ending, it's not like, or the Roman Empire ending, it's not like it just went, oh, it's over now. One day it was just like these things happen over hundreds of years, and I feel, but we don't recognise them at the time because we're in it and we're stupid little monkey humans. And we can't perceive time in the right way. I feel like we are in that fall, the slow fall of like the MMORPG genre. Some will carry on for longer because they're big and they're heavyweights, but with that, you have like, there's never a better time if you are strapped for cash to play, because all these games have had to go kind of like free to play for most of them with like stuff on top. So there is like, I've always thought there is like a shit ton of like value to be extracted from all these games for free as you just sort of wander around in them like some sort of fucking parasite, just sort of taking advantage of someone else's game. But my final word on like Guild Wars 2 is connected to recently, obviously there was the news that New World is just kind of like it's gone into maintenance.
Not new anymore.
Yeah, it's not new anymore. It's gone into maintenance mode. And I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, well, like, Guild Wars 2 has been going since 2012. I mean, I don't think they maybe have a bit more like grounded ambitions for what they expect from their game. Like, I'm assuming Amazon was like, oh, well, we're going to make loads of money, and we'll probably put WoW out of business, and we'll just make loads of money because we're dumb fucking capitalists, and we've not really thought about how this works. We just saw that someone else had a thing. Someone else had a thing that made loads of money into it. So we just want the thing because that makes the money, and it didn't. So, but at the same time, that failed. But Guild Wars 2 is still going. So what is it that Guild Wars 2 is doing all right? Because New World was pretty similar, because I think that the base game... No, but that's the thing. That's the one thing I think. It's that they never stopped charging for the base game, and they expect you to pay like 60 quid for the game. And it's like, surely you should have looked around you and gone,
that's not how you get people addicted to stuff.
Exactly. Because
you give them it for free.
When I bought the latest expansion this time, I listen to this podcast called Massively OP, and it's like a MMORPG news website, but it has a podcast attached to it. And Bree from that, she says whenever she buys a new expansion with Guild Wars, she usually gets the deluxe package that's like, I mean, the expansion's about 25 quid, but if you buy the deluxe one, it's like, I don't know, the price of a normal game. But when you buy that, you get all currency that you can spend in the in-game shop. And I think the point being is that where I've played it for so long, like I don't mind. I've been given I've been given the fair deal. I've been given the space to grow into this game to the point where it's like, well, I don't mind if every now and then I go, do you know what? I'm gonna go and spend 5 or 10 quid on a fucking hat because I'm in. Like you, and I just wonder how different things could have been if New World had just gone, right, do you know what? Everything's free. You can play the whole base game. We've got expansions are like 20, 25 quid or something. And I wonder whether that would have changed their fortunes. But I think owing to like the companies involved, Amazon, probably that was never going to be the case because of the unrealistic expectations that they have that we just laid out just before that, which is we want to make all the money. Oh no, the thing is not making all the money. Let's just shut it down.
Yeah, get rid of it.
So,
right,
yeah.
I've got to go, boys.
All right, well, that seems like a good time to go as well. So,
Sweet, good hustle. I will talk to you soon.
indeed.
Take it easy, guys.
Au revoir.
Thank you.